bring a new hero into the game. So this past year, we brought Orphea, Imperius, yeah. We got Anduin, all right. And then Kira as well, all right. So, you know, the team loves the challenge of bringing a new hero into the game. And this is something that really is at the core of what we do, and we have a lot of stuff going on. All right. But as we planned for the BlizzCon hero for this year, there was really only one hero that all of you have been asking for years, bringing a new hero into the game. And this is something that really is at the core of what we do, and we have a lot of stuff going on. All right. But as we so excited to bring Deathwing to the Nexus, he is finally here. And again, this hero is such a long time coming, and he's literally the biggest thing that's ever come into the Nexus. So to hear more about the creation process behind Deathwing, I want to let some of the developers who brought him to life tell you more. And up first is Andrew Kinnebrew. He's an artist on the team. You guys see him very active on Reddit and our forums. Let's hear what Brew has to say here.
How's it going, guys? Thanks, KO. You guys ready for Deathwing? Yeah. We are too. Hi, my name is Andrew Kinnebrew. I'm a senior 3D artist on the Heroes team, and today I want to talk to you about the feedback and iteration loop that we use when we make a hero. So, where do we start? What version of Deathwing do we do? Humanoid, dragon, both? If you played our game, you know there's a lot of bipeds running around, a lot of humanoids. And then a couple years ago, we brought Alex Straza to BlizzCon. And she sits in that both category. We didn't want to cramp her style. So making Deathwing a dragon just makes sense. So there's a lot of visual inspiration for Deathwing. Our goal was to take all the parts that we liked and make the best version of Deathwing for heroes. We've got some great examples, right? You got the Cataclysm cinematic, which our designers use as inspiration fairly heavily. And also we got awesome artists like Alex Horley and Laurel Austin, who use very bold shape language. We use all these bits of inspiration to create a concept. Now our buddy Luke Mancini did this concept for us, which honestly it's a great start. We use this to make a 3D blockout. And this is what that looks like. Its purpose is to make sure that the shapes are roughed in enough so that our team can start animating it and playing with it in-game. At this stage, textures are flat and work in progress. Geometry and animations are also temp and work in progress. This stage just allows our team to give feedback on all things that are art related. So let's talk about feedback. When Deathwing was walking around in his blockout mode, in the battlegrounds, we knew that there were 3 focal points that pulled interest. We had the head, the back, and the wings. Let's start off with the wings. Let me set this up for you. On your left here, we've got the early blockout, and on the right is the high poly, or the final high poly. So the blockout looked fine, looked good, but we knew that we could do better. We wanted to make the shapes a little bit more interesting and aggressive. So we did. We went ahead and referenced Laurel Austin's image that I showed you a moment ago, and we knew that she made kind of a cool decision. She added a metal claw, and she also added additional armor bits. So we added those things, added to the silhouette, and made things a little bit more aggressive. So next thing I want to talk to you about is back. But in order to do that, I need to talk to you about Deathwing's chest. Deathwing's got a very iconic fiery maw on his chest. But you're not going to see that in game. It's a top-down view. You're going to see his back. So we need to figure out how to bring some of that fire and heat to the top side. So let me lay this out for you. Up top, you've got the early blockout, and on the bottom is the final high poly. On your left, you've got the head and the horns, and on the right, of course, you've got the tail. So what we did was we went ahead and separated the plates there so that we created some pockets for heat and some fire to shine through. This actually allowed us to add some additional color later when we finished off the model. So last bit of feedback I want to talk to you about is the head. So when he was walking around the battleground, we noticed one thing. His jaw was making his head get lost. it was a little bit too planar and too chiseled, so we needed to bulk it up a bit. So we went back to our reference models, our reference images, and our inspiration, and we noticed that we could flare out the jaw, beef it up a little bit, and also Laurel did something cool and gave him some iron cheekbones. So you guys ready to see the final model? I thought so. So this is what that looks like. We're really proud of it. I'm actually proud of it personally. Thank you. I'm glad you guys agreed. We also brought some color variations. So this one's based off of one of Mephisto's color variations. And if you guys have played Warcraft 2, you should recognize this one. Good buddy Rar Jar asked for a purple one, so you're welcome. I like silver dragons, so we got a silver dragon in here. And if you have silver, you gotta have gold. All right. So I'm gonna go and hand this off to our buddy Kyle Dates, who's gonna tell you more about the design of Deathwing.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again. My name is Kyle Dates, and I'm a senior game designer on the Heroes team, and I'm the lead hero designer for Deathwing. So, Deathwing has finally arrived. He is one of the most highly requested heroes we've ever had, and one of the most long-awaited heroes as well. However, bringing such a highly anticipated and requested hero to the Nexus comes with quite a lot of expectations. And meeting on some of these expectations, while also creating a unique and fun experience, can be a very daunting task. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about some of the design decisions that we made to make Deathwing feel like one of the most epic heroes ever to be brought to the Nexus. So Deathwing has been a long time coming, and there have been so many different ideas thrown around about what he could do or how he would be represented in the game. A clear starting point would be having him in his human form and switching to his dragon form as part of his trait or perhaps his heroic ability. Another version of Deathwing could be a variation overrun with the corruption of the old gods. And finally, some ideas still had Deathwing pitched as an entire map where both teams are being carried around on his back. And these are all really, really great and amazing ideas, and they all have a ton of potential, but our strongest desire as a team was to bring a dragon to the game who remained a dragon for the entirety of the match, and Deathwing really felt like the perfect choice for this. We really thought that dragon form Deathwing was one of the coolest possible ways to represent him in Heroes, and we were extremely excited to see what that would mean for the game as we developed him further. Now, Deathwing is one of the most epic characters across all of Blizzard's universes. His capabilities vastly overshadow most of our other heroes because just by simply flying through the skies, he created a cataclysm that ravaged all of Azeroth forever, permanently changing the world. So in Heroes, it's really important for us to make him feel overwhelming and powerful in a way that no other hero does, but still be balanced and play well within the game. So our starting point was to really identify the core aspects of his character that we wanted to capture in his gameplay. And the first of these is the dragon fantasy. A being who is so powerful and menacing, who uses fire breath and physical attacks to tear his enemies apart. And the second of these is the cataclysm fantasy. He's such a terrible and mighty being that the world rips apart in just his presence. So capturing both of those on a single hero proved to be very challenging. With only 3 abilities, it was almost impossible to squeeze the epicness that we needed into his base kit. And that led us to the idea of creating 2 ability sets that he could switch between. Now, Deathwing is known by many names across Azeroth, and 2 of these names really presented perfect ways to describe these 2 playstyles: the Destroyer and the Worldbreaker. Destroyer form is a close-range, aggressive melee kit focused on using dragon physicality to tear enemies apart and engage them directly. And Worldbreaker form is a mid-range area denial kit focused on ripping the earth apart beneath his opponent's feet. And the decision to allow Deathwing to switch forms really opened up a lot of breathing room for us on design to create more interesting and creative abilities. And So once we had the form switching concept working, we were actually still working on developing the glue to tie everything together. We really wanted his trait to capture what it meant to be the aspect of death. So one of the mechanics we were testing at the time, which also really felt like something Deathwing would have, is the unstoppable status. So Deathwing is a massive dragon, and he's adorned with many armor plates that hold his unstable body together. And we were testing the idea that as long as Deathwing had more than a certain number of armor plates active, he would be unstoppable. And then when he lost some of these plates, he would actually lose the unstoppable status, which would allow enemies to use their stuns and slows to lock him down and take him out. But honestly, this really just didn't feel epic enough for us. Once Deathwing lost his armor plates, he would retreat from the fight like a cowardly whelp, hiding from his enemies until his allies healed him up. And there was also some awkward gameplay where gaining and losing unstoppable based on your health amount would confuse your allies and your enemies alike. Sometimes your stuns would work, and then sometimes they just wouldn't. So this ultimately led us to making him permanently unstoppable. This felt much more fitting to the aspect of death, and is something that no other hero has. So to show this status, we actually spruced up his nameplate, which anyone who plays World of Warcraft should be pretty familiar with. And this not only allows us to show his unique unstoppable status, but also gave us a really interesting and cool way to show off the state of his armor plates. Now, despite having two ability sets, Deathwing does have some abilities that are shared across both of his forms. Obviously, dragons are known for their fire breathing, and Deathwing is no exception. Molten Flame is Deathwing's Q ability, available in Destroyer and Worldbreaker forms. It is extremely powerful, with some of the highest damage per second in the entire game. Truly appropriate for the mighty Deathwing. And when it came to Deathwing's heroic ability, there was one iconic moment that really stood out to the team. The epic Cataclysm cinematic, where Deathwing flies across the realm, causing the world to break apart beneath his shadow. Cataclysm offers Deathwing a very powerful engagement and mobility tool and feels very iconic to the aspect of death. In fact, during our testing, it was so iconic and powerful that we actually had trouble getting players to choose his other heroic. It also just really didn't feel like Deathwing when he wasn't able to use Cataclysm. So this led to us giving him this powerful heroic ability at level 1 and allowing him to further upgrade it as he progresses through the game. His trait and raw survivability easily allow him to start team fights with Cataclysm, and it's a super epic moment in games when he flies across the screen and lands in the middle of the enemy team, creating a ton of chaos, and it just looks amazing. And speaking of looking amazing, it is now time for me to hand this off to our brilliantly talented effects artist, Thomas Horwath. And before I do, I just want to say I've had an absolute blast working on Deathwing, and I hope you guys all enjoy playing him as much as I enjoyed working on him. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. And hello, BlizzCon. I'm Thomas Horwath. I'm a senior effects artist, and I had the honor of creating the visual effects for Deathwing. Today, I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of the process that we went through while deciding the final direction for Deathwing's abilities, and how I crafted the effects to complement the power and presence that Deathwing demands when he enters the Nexus. As Kyle mentioned a moment ago, Deathwing is the most epic thing that we've ever put into the game, hands down. So the challenge I had was to develop the effects in a way that felt powerful and impressive, that satisfied the design goals of controlling one of the largest bosses in the entire Blizzard universe, and to do so without causing our tech artists to yell at me when they ran the performance reports. I think I got like 2 out of 3 of those, so we'll see. In order to match the ridiculous nature of this world-destroying dragon, I did something I've always wanted to do. I made all of his abilities feel like heroics. When I broke down each individual ability that Kyle designed for Deathwing, I realized that nearly all of them were of a size and complexity similar to other heroics in the game. Let's take a look. Here's Diablo's Lightning Breath, next to Deathwing's Q ability, Molten Flame. And this is Thrall's Sundering, compared to one of Deathwing's E abilities, Earth Shatter. And finally, Bellowing Roar, a talent you can choose, and only the second fear that we've ever put into the game, next to Gul'dan's Horrify, the first fear that we put into the game. Now, generally, heroic abilities are the largest, most impressive, and most time-consuming work that we develop. So creating an entire suite of heroic effects was no small feat. But it was an exciting challenge. And not just because we think Deathwing is super awesome. He is one of the most requested heroes that you guys have ever asked for. So we really wanted to do everything we could to make him as fantastic as possible. All right, so even though I crafted the visual effects for Deathwing, it took collaborative work from several departments, including design, modeling, animation, tech art, sound, engineering, QA, all of these to realize his final look. And to achieve that look, I knew I would need some key pieces of art to really sell his fantasy of fire and brimstone, namely fire and brimstone. So normally in Heroes of the Storm, lava and fire and water effects would use hand-drawn animations or complicated fluid simulations, pre-rendered, baked into a single texture, and then sequenced frame by frame into something we call a flipbook. This is one of the many texture assets used in Ragnaros' ability effects. Flipbooks are great for lots of things, but they're time-consuming to make, and they can get repetitive when you see them over and over again. They also add a lot of complexity when we want to make new effects for skins, which is something we take very seriously. It's never as simple as just tinting an ability another color. We could do that. It's something that we've talked about, but we feel that it wouldn't really be up to the standard that we set for ourselves, and in the long run, we feel it wouldn't bring the value that we try to provide when we create new skins for heroes. If we're gonna do it, we wanna do it right. And that's just one of the reasons that I took a different approach for our Dragon Buddy. I also wanted Deathwing's effects to stand out and feel unique. So I worked with our tech artist, Mark Petro, who built some new tools. They allowed me to do some cool stuff that's unlike anything we've done in the game. We created a shader that took a single static frame, like these ones. This example is lava and fire. These are two different textures that I just smashed together. And then we manipulate them in real time with noise and motion so that they're always evolving. They're always changing, always a little different, and in my opinion, always interesting to look at. The result of this collaboration gave me assets that I was able to use across Deathwing's entire kit, and it was a great foundation to build Deathwing's abilities. His lava and fire are central elements of his visual style. But I also needed something more physical. He's the world breaker after all, so I needed some bits of the world to break apart. And luckily, Brew over here was creating the character model for Deathwing, so it only made sense for him to assist in creating the ability models as well. I asked Brew to craft this set of rocks that I could manipulate in different ways to help give some physical presence to Deathwing's effects. I took these 7 rocks and I rotated them and I scaled them and I animated them in different ways and I layered effects on top of them to create abilities like this falling meteor or this ground smashing impact effect that just happens to be the impact for the meteor you just saw, or the churning debris from Earth Shatter. All of these physical rock elements are made from the same kit of rocks that I had Brew craft for me. And this was just a small example of the collaboration it took to bring Deathwing's effects to life. It was a team-wide effort, though, to bring him into the Nexus. It was truly an honor to work on this iconic villain, and I'm thrilled to finally be able to share him with all of you. My time is up, but I'm happy to introduce our lead designer, Brett Crawford, who's going to give you all a glimpse into what's next for Heroes of the Storm.
Thanks, Thomas. Hello, Blizzard family. My name is Brett Crawford. I am the lead game designer on Heroes of the Storm. And I am so excited to bring Deathwing to you guys today. The team has done an incredible job. His name has been being mentioned for years now, internally and externally, and we were never able to find the right time to get him to you. Today is that time. He is here on the show floor. If you haven't had a chance to check him out yet, go to the arcade, play him, and let us know what you think. But we've heard a lot about Deathwing so far, and I have the opportunity to tell you about some of the other things coming right around the corner. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Following closely on Deathwing's heels, we are returning to a reimagined and updated version of our most popular seasonal event ever. You'll return to a familiar game board and what we're calling Toys 2, The Revenge of Tickle Mephisto. That's right. The Lord of Hatred has put it on himself to spread holiday sorrow to all those around him. And so players will return to a similar feel where they race around the game board, completing quests and collecting rewards as they go. But alongside the skin from Mephisto, the team has reached for the stars to bring you Cosmonaut Kira, while also trying to stay grounded by bringing you the first ever interactive mount. People that own the Toy Train mount will be able to share it with their allies. Any unmounted hero can channel on the Toy Train for a couple seconds before jumping into their own cart mount. This allows teams, and bear with me here, to stay on track and form a pain train straight to the enemy core. As we move into the new year, we're also looking to replace our yearly gameplay updates with something a bit more focused and strategic. In the past, you've seen us bring a suite of systemic changes to the game at the end of every year. We feel like these have been healthy for the game, although they've always caused a little bit of a stir for the community and have been really hard for us to predict all the things that could happen because there were so many moving pieces. Well, moving forward, and with the release of Deathwing, and coinciding with every season roll of Storm League, we are bringing to you Nexus Anomalies. These are targeted changes that affect the entire game that we can then try out, listen to your feedback for 3 or 4 months, and either iterate on them or remove them completely before bringing in the next round of changes. So, what are they? The first Nexus Anomaly is actually here and playable on the BlizzCon floor. In the past, veteran players will tell you constantly soaking minion experience is important, but we've not done a great job of communicating that to our players. So, with the season roll, all slain minions will drop small experience globes. These act just kind of like our regeneration globes, and as a player gets close to them, they will magnetize towards them before being sucked up and awarding a small pop of experience. While educating players is important to us for sure, we also fell in love with the gameplay that this brought to skirmishing over them. And one of the largest pieces of feedback that we've received over the past year or so has been the slow loss of a meaningful solo lane. These changes have helped bring that back, and we're excited to see what you can do and what you think about them. For our dedicated Storm League players, we are making a change next season as well, where master level players and higher can only queue with one other player, and those players must also be master level or higher. This should help curb some of the smurfing endeavors that are going on and allow the ladder experience to be more fun and less exploitable moving forward. But as you're climbing the ladder, it's important to show off your hero mastery. A couple weeks ago, we released the first 2 hero mastery rings. The community has loved them for the most part, but they have been giving us a lot of feedback, and we've been listening to that, and we have a couple quality of life changes that we're bringing to you very soon, one of which being able to turn them on or off as you will, and, excuse me, able to turn them on and off as you will, while also designing the level 3 and the level 4 rings. These will unlock at hero level 50 and hero level 100 respectively. And to add the epicness to the level 4 ring, we're adding brand new tech to the game to show you the actual hero level on the ring itself all the time. So you'll be able to show off your 158 Probius or your 700 Butcher or whatever you're doing. But in order to actually see the Hero Master rings, you also have to be able to get into a game. And while I don't have a pretty slide to show you today, I can tell you that our engineers are hard at work getting ready to set up the framework for both a ready check on game creation and an auto re-queue system for you and your party when a game fails to create, which will interject you back in. Deathwing hits the PTR in just a few weeks, and we're extremely excited about it. And to celebrate his imminent arrival, as well as that of BlizzCon, a couple hours ago, we made all the heroes in the game free to play until November 11th. And while we'd like to spend the rest of our time here with you answering your questions, I do want to end by saying that this is just the tip of the iceberg. The Heroes team is still here, as dedicated and passionate as ever. We're listening to your feedback and your comments. It is extremely important that you keep giving them to us. It directly forces the development of the game to go that direction, so we appreciate it. And most importantly, I want to say welcome home. Enjoy the rest of your BlizzCon, and we'll see you in the Nexus. Thank you. There are a couple runners with microphones if people have questions.
Yep. Got microphones here
Microphones
and
in here and here.
Hey guys,
Hi.
just wanted to ask you guys, with Deathwing's new abilities being base abilities, how do you plan on addressing some of the old heroes' heroics to make sure that those still feel as impactful as they do currently compared to Deathwing's new introduction of his base abilities?
Yeah, so for Deathwing, these abilities are, we wanted them to feel really mighty and powerful. They make a lot of sense with the rest of the kit that he has and what he has going on for him. For other heroes, like, for example, in Diablo, he's got the lightning breath. He's also got other tools that make his ability to have that lightning breath feel more meaningful, right? If he charges into your team, he does a wall stun, he flips someone, and then he starts his lightning breath, that's a huge moment for him. He has a little bit more control over it than Deathwing does with him. There are limitations that Deathwing has that makes, the heroics that those heroes have still feel very meaningful and relevant.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you and the rest of the team members that aren't here that you do. I and all of my friends, I have a lot of friends that love this game, and we just want to let you know that this community is much larger than many people think.
Yeah.
We love you.
Thank you.
With that being said, the question I have is, are there any plans, even in a small way, to maybe bring back the professional game to BlizzCon?
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you for the kind words, too. We really appreciate that. We all loved HGC, and I think we loved it as much, if not more, than you guys did, and I think we all miss it a lot. I think looking forward, we don't have any plans right now for an organized kind of esport around Heroes. We've been really watching closely the things that have been springing up in the community, and we're avid fans of that, but there's not anything else we have now. I think we all will kind of continue to mourn that and look for the biggest opportunities for us to see this game played at the highest levels.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi there. First of all, I want to say thank you for making this game. It's an amazing game. Now, the question that I have, I'm asking about the upcoming Nexus Anomaly and how we have little experience bubbles that we need to collect. How would that affect Abathur? As you can tell, I'm kind of an Abathur player.
That's a
would
great
he need to
question.
step into the lane to get experience, or?
Nope, we do actually make a couple changes to some of the heroes. Abathur will be gaining any of the experience globes that he kills with his symbiote will just get sucked up into the hat. And then also things like Ragnaros' lava wave, those will just be sucked up as they get killed. So we are making certain exceptions to it for these heroes that have global abilities or other things, so you don't lose that experience.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi there. Really happy to be here. Thank you all for coming out and making the game that I love the most on Heroes. Big question is, during the Deathwing reveal stream, you mentioned the words that I'm sure you're dreading, core replacement hero. And he would have been cool, but I mean, there's old gods and stuff. So I'm just wondering, what are the current thoughts on that? Or is it still something you're kicking around?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, you know, we're looking to see if there's any way we can make that work in the game. There's a lot of technical limitations that we have, and making heroes feel relevant and, you know, having a presence on the map. So that's really important for us, and is something that we're still working on figuring out for a core replacement hero. But we definitely have heard your feedback, and we're excited to keep working on new stuff. So.
I can also share a little bit there too. We actually tried a core replacement hero with Ragnaros. We did it internally. We messed around with it. There's a lot of design challenges that come behind that, especially a lot of players when they're playing, they want to be seen on the battlefield, and a core is not really looked at unless it's dying. So if your core is your hero, and the only time the entire game ever sees you is when you're getting blown up, it doesn't feel great. But I think there are ways that we can solve those things, but we do run into those design challenges as well.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, first off, I really want to thank you all for all your hard work and really sustaining this game that we all really love and been playing for years. So I know that it's been, you know, removed indefinitely for now, but some of us want to gather more skulls. So when is Haunted Mines coming back, if at all?
Okay, I'll tackle it. I was the original balance designer on Haunted Mines, so I apologize, but I will say that we love it internally as well. There's a few design challenges with the map that I think that we can get over, and we've actually been playing with both it and Blackheart's Bay and some changes internally. We don't have anything really to share. We haven't hit any perfect stride on it yet, but we are looking at them, and I would love to bring it back. So it's just a matter of time. We need to figure out a better way to actually deliver those golems besides the Skull Collection, or maybe change the Skull Collection in some way, but we just haven't found it yet. But we love it too. It's not gone forever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I think as everyone's going to say, thank you guys so much. And with the experience changes, I think I see with learning being, I think, a huge thing that I'd love to see more and more in the game. Have you guys ever thought about expanding upon that, maybe in try mode, incentivizing people to learn more combos, other things with incentivization, maybe with gold or otherwise, anything like that?
Yeah, we have. Again, this is stuff that has not been developed at all. It's just been papered out and talked about for the most part, but we would love to be able to do something like an overlay or some way to show players what to do on certain maps that they could turn on in real time, and then give them little quest dialogues or things that say, hey, this is a good time to go do this or to do that, and then be able to go through that in a progression-based manner. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of UI work, and so I can't promise that it'll come anytime soon, but it is something we are very passionate about, and I know that our design team especially, we know that we need to be better at delivering all of this information to players in a better way, so we're looking at it.
Thanks so much.
Hi. So first I want to thank you, like everyone else. We love the game. I have two questions. One is really quick. When are we getting an Overwatch special? Wait. When are we getting when are we getting Dead? Okay. You guys are good. When are we getting Innkeeper? And the other question is, with the changes this year, and you are doing a lot of good reworks, how has your process for, you know, choosing which hero to rework or develop has changed?
Okay.
Personally, I'd love to see the Innkeeper. I think there's a lot of design challenges and art issues, because the way that we'd want to do it, you'd play a lot of cards, which I would assume you'd want a bunch of different models, right? It's very resource heavy, so it would take more time than our regular unit. So we would love to do it. We'd have to fit it in somewhere.
Innkeeper would be cool. And to answer the second part of your question there, for our reworks and stuff, we are still doing, a lot of them we're doing more than we ever have. Choosing which ones to do can be strategic at times, whether it's something else that we know that Blizzard is getting ready to unveil or do, and so we want to coincide with it. Or it could just be a passion project for one of the designers. It could be that we feel like there's design problems for a hero that needs fixed. And I almost talked about Tassadar a little bit today. He is still on the way. He will be changing into a ranged mage to give you some more information on him, but he's in the works. He's coming soon TM, as Blizzard would say.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hello.
Just a question regarding Deathwing.
Yeah.
I would like to. I understand that Deathwing doesn't gain bonuses such as healing speed from his allies, but does he get bonuses such as the damage bonus from objectives on the map, such as Alterac Pass?
I believe he does.
I think he does. Yeah,
Something along those lines.
he gets the damage buff from the map objective.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the main thing is he's basically treated like a vehicle, essentially. So like anything that would or would not work on a vehicle is basically the way it would work on Deathwing. So if like the Dragon Knight can get a damage buff, or I mean I know you can't have the Dragon Knight on Alterac Pass, but you know, like Void Prison will hit him, but like Lucio's speed boost won't work on him. So things like that. But yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for working on this game that everyone here has come here to love.
Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Playing it. Thank you.
Hey guys, I want to thank you for taking the time to answer all of our questions and to actually listen to your community for your game. But one of my questions I had was for your MMR system in the Storm League. I thought it was really cool that it was kind of simplified and put into one versus having the team and the individual solo play. But sometimes you'll have some of your friends be a little lower, a little higher, and when you place, you might not be close enough to keep playing together. And it kind of puts you into just being able to do quick play or unranked. And I was wondering if there's anything that might be an improvement to help keep you doing ranked play with your friends.
So it's an impossible thing to fix, unfortunately. We've ran in circles with Hero League and then Team League and then Storm League, and we've gone through all the different renditions of like, how do we fix this problem without breaking this one? And while I think that it's really important because we have players all over, even in our bullpen that can't currently play with each other, I think we can find a way to make that work. I just don't know how to do it yet. And I think that with the way Storm League is currently set up, it's the most fair for the competitive players. As for teams that have varied skill, I would love to eventually be in a spot where we could create teams and you could actually have tournaments and run your own stuff through that. But again, that's all pie in the sky stuff for now. But I think we've done the best we could with Storm League, and I don't know if there's a good solve, but if you guys have it, please talk to us about it.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Hey, I just want to say thank you again for the game, and I know the community and everyone here feels the same and loves the game, and HOTS is definitely not dead, in my opinion. But I think with that being said, there is one frustrating thing I have with the game is joining up in a match and then someone leaves the game and there's an AI for the rest. I've always thought of ways that might be able to fix it. Maybe someone could queue up to especially go into these games and take over for that AI spot. Maybe they could get an XP boost or extra gold, but how have you guys found a way to maybe fix this? Because sometimes that can tilt the game completely in the other team's direction.
Yeah. We're still working on a lot of AI improvements to hopefully offset some of the pain that you feel whenever that does happen. I think for like our server side, it's pretty hard to like have players that weren't initially in the game to join back up with the game. But that's a really good idea, and there may be something there that we can explore. So hopefully we'll keep working on the AI, keep trying to make it better, but right now we don't have anything on that front that we can talk about.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I wanted to thank you guys for working on HOTS. I ironically feel like since the team got smaller, it's gotten kind of more back to its roots, and you guys have done an amazing job and solved pretty much the majority of my issues with the game over the last year. Like, I've been loving the balance changes, the reworks. I just wanted to know if you guys had any plans to solve some of the minor map issues. Like I know Cursed Hollow is a little too fast-paced for a lot of heroes these days. Like the tributes spawn too fast since it changes, and so it causes some issues with any sort of slower, more methodical gameplay. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think we could probably, I think we should always look to reevaluate all of the maps. Right now we look at the timing of maps. We want games to be completed between 18 to 22 minutes-ish, and all the maps are falling into that line. As for tributes spawning faster or slower, it's definitely something we can look at. That timer is really easy to play with. I haven't felt it too much personally, but yeah, we can definitely look at those things.
Well, thank you.
All right, and just to warn us here, we only have about 2 minutes left, so unfortunately we have like one question left. I'm so sorry, because a lot of you are lined up here.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So I would never hear the end of it if I didn't ask the question, Shark Haka when?
Oh, man. Shark Haka. Okay, so I really want him in the game. I also want the shark version of Greymane in the game as well. We definitely want to do a pirate theme. I think it would be really great.
All right, maybe we can do,
Yeah, if you make it quick, 1 minute.
We'll do our one more.
Okay. First of all, your shirts are awesome. You gotta let us buy those. But my important question is, for the train mount, are you gonna allow enemies to channel it so like we have all 10 players?
That was a really good idea. I think.
Can you do that?
Why would we not?
Why would we not?
I don't think
I don't think there's currently
test it.
any implementation.
We'll figure it out.
It's a really good idea, and we're gonna look into that.
That sounds awesome.
All right. All right, guys, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here and all the love. Like, we really love this game. We can tell you do as well. We got a lot more work to do, and we're really happy to have you along on the journey.